Almost a year ago, on July 26, 2019, Real Madrid and Atletico Madrid played a preseason friendly in New Jersey, USA, that ended with Los Colchoneros winning 7-3, an embarrassment for Real Madrid even if it was just a friendly. This preseason form, coupled with their inability to defend the season prior, led many to believe, myself included, that Real Madrid's season would be a tough one. While their newly acquired attacking talent could provide plenty of goals in theory, their defense would weigh them down. Or so we thought, as 12 months later, you could argue that the inverse is true, but they haven't been held down by their slightly diminished attack. Instead of the flashy attack they found success with in the past, they've evolved to be miserly defenders, and built a deep squad that isn't reliant upon a defined 11, minus a few key mainstays. As alluded to in the intro, when you used to think of Real Madrid, you considered their brilliance in the attack as their main strength. Much of this you could attribute to the influence of Cristiano Ronaldo, of course, but in general, their attack was far more potent. Just take a look at the goals scored per season in La Liga for Madrid, and you'll see exactly what I mean. The 2014-15 season, 118 goals scored, second place. 2015-16, 110 goals scored, second place. 2016-17, 106 goals scored, first place. 2017-18, 94 goals scored, third place, and by the way, it was after this season that Ronaldo and Zidane left Real Madrid, leading to a turbulent 2018-19 season that saw them score 63 goals, their lowest tally since the 1999-2000 season, when they only managed to score 58 times and finished in 5th. That same year, Deportivo La Coruña were champions, truly a different era. But also, the 46 goals they conceded in the 18-19 campaign was the most they had conceded in the league since the 2008-2009 season, the season prior to Cristiano Ronaldo and Karim Benzema joining Real Madrid, the season when Real Madrid's dramatic collapse in losing their last 5 matches straight. Their identity as a high-scoring, attacking team was shaken last season, and with their preseason rollicking by their crosstown rivals, this gave the idea that their inability to defend was to continue. All things pointed to rough waters with the information we had available to us at the time. Even with Zidane at the helm, the man who has the second biggest trophy cabinet amongst managers at Madrid, the task of having a successful 2019-20 season was looking to be very difficult. As mentioned earlier, we've seen a change in Real Madrid's approach, while saying that they don't focus on the attack at all would be completely inaccurate, as they still generate a lot of chances for themselves. However, there has definitely been a conscious focus on defensive solidity. While Real Madrid's serial Champions League winning backline of Dani Carvajal, Rafael Varane, Sergio Ramos, and Marcelo were solid in their own right, Real Madrid's current defensive record is on the verge of being unprecedented for them. Real Madrid have conceded just 22 times in 36 matches. If they are to keep the goals against low in their remaining fixtures, they will smash their all-time best defensive record in their history. At least, their all-time best defensive record since La Liga has had 20 teams in the division. While they only conceded 15 goals in the 1930-31 season, they also only played 18 matches. In the 1987-88 season, they conceded just 26 goals. So assuming Real Madrid don't allow a deluge of goals over their final 2 matches, this 2019-20 season will prove to be unprecedented defensively. 2011-12 was the last time they came close to this low of a goals against record, finishing the season with just 32 goals against under Mourinho. Of course. They also set the record for the most goals scored in La Liga in that season. Their 22 goals conceded is far and away the best defensive record in Europe's top 5 leagues. Liverpool's with 27 against, having played 1 less match. PSG has conceded just 24, close to Real Madrid, yet they had only played 27 matches before it was called off due to the pandemic, and Madrid have conceded 2 fewer despite playing 9 more matches. While it takes many to ensure defensive solidity, the performance of Thibaut Courtois in comparison to the 18-19 season has been black and white. This season, he has conceded just 18 goals from 33 La Liga appearances, picking up 18 clean sheets in La Liga. His 17th clean sheet on July 5th, 2020, made him the first Real Madrid keeper to reach that number since their legendary keeper Buyo did so in the 94-95 season. By the way, if Courtois gets a clean sheet in the next 2 matches, he'll beat Buyo's record of 19 clean sheets from the 1986-87 season. So yes, after his nightmare 2018-19 season, there's a chance he'll be the new clean sheet king of Real Madrid via the 2019-20 season. Changing gears, Rafael Varane has seemingly refound his form for Real Madrid after the 18-19 low that, well, quite honestly, the entire squad suffered through. The same can be said of Dani Carvajal and Marcelo, the latter of which having split duties with the new arrival, Ferland Mendy. Mendy replacing Marcelo will definitely take a hit to Real Madrid's attack, despite Mendy actually scoring against Granada recently, but he more than makes up for that in his contribution to Madrid's defense. Zidane, thankfully, has been able to split the left-back duties at almost 50% between Mendy and Marcelo, thus ensuring the aging Marcelo remains refreshed, while Mendy still gets plenty of playing time and integration time in his first season with the club. And of course, there's Sergio Ramos, one of the icons of this Madrid team. But before we can continue with the defense, let's take a look at yet another icon of this Madrid side. In Cristiano Ronaldo, a large shadow was cast over much of the Real Madrid squad for many seasons. That's not to say that the rest of the team wasn't highly rated as football players or famous in their own right, but when someone like Ronaldo is on the team, an individual that transcends football and has become a brand in himself that has hotels, underwear, blankets, cologne, and more under his umbrella, combined with the fact that he's an incredible generational talent, the spotlight doesn't have much room for others. However, since his departure, the 2 players that have cemented their place as Real Madrid's icons currently have been Sergio Ramos and Karim Benzema, in my opinion. Ramos has been an icon for some time, of course, but recently he's felt like the man at Real Madrid, alongside Karim Benzema. In Benzema's case, we're seeing performances from him that we haven't seen since the 2015-16 season. Not to say that last season wasn't a good one for him. It was. But with Ronaldo at the club, the structure of Real Madrid's attack was built to ensure their top finisher at the time, Ronaldo, was exploited to their benefit. And you can't say that it wasn't successful, as he went on to become Real Madrid's top scorer of all time and lead them through numerous successful Champions League campaigns in which he was consistently their top scorer and the top scorer in the entire competition. Benzema's role was more of the setup man, with Ronaldo saying that he was one of the best passers he has ever had the pleasure of playing alongside. Naturally, with Ronaldo's role defined as the one who scores and Benzema's defined as the one who helps in the build-up, his goal tallies would inevitably dip. However, in my opinion, that wasn't the sole reason why Benzema's numbers dropped, as some will try to tell you, as he also went through a dip in form where his finishing was quite poor, and questions of whether he could be the sole goal scorer for Real Madrid in Ronaldo's absence were rife. It sort of coincides with what was going on with him in the French national team and his legal case, loosely at least. But during this season and the last, we've seen that Benzema can indeed be the man for Madrid, as he has carried their attack almost single-handedly, and that's not hyperbole. Benzema's general play, his passing, dribbling, hold-up, and distribution has been superb. He also leads Real Madrid in both goals and assists, with 19 and 8 respectively as of 36 matches into the league campaign. As far as his fellow attackers go, their numbers are a little uninspiring. You have to go down the list of goal scorers to Vinicius Jr. to find the next attacker in the column, and that's with a paltry 3 to his name. Yes, the next man we'll talk about does have 10 goals, and the midfielders have done their part as well, as Cruz and Casemiro have scored 4, Modric has scored 3, but as far as attackers go, it's Benzema at 19, and then Vinicius all the way down at 3. As I said earlier, Sergio Ramos has been one of Real Madrid's icons for quite some time, before Ronaldo, during Ronaldo, and after Ronaldo. But now, he seemed to have evolved into something more somehow, a representation of the success Real Madrid has had of late, and their perseverance. Much of which down to his unquenchable thirst to win and his pedigree in doing so. He has looked as solid as ever at 34 years old. His work off of the pitch has clearly paid dividends, not losing anything in regards to strength, and while he may have lost a step in his speed, his positioning and brain for defending seems to be sharp. Just look to his recent hard-fought win over Granada, where he had the presence of mind to retreat to the goal line as Granada cut the ball across the box and ended up making a match-saving goal line clearance, a save that ensured Real Madrid would have a chance at clinching the La Liga title in their next match against Villarreal. Not to mention, he has been getting it done at the other end of the pitch as well, as Ramos has scored 10 goals in La Liga, thanks in large part to being Real Madrid's go-to penalty taker. In fact, he may have robbed Benzema, who has a perfect record from the spot by the way, a shot at winning the Pichichi had he allowed him to take the penalties. But anyways, from the spot, Ramos has taken 6 and scored all of them, while also converting a sublimely hit free kick, and strangely, a tap-in from a rapid Real Madrid counterattack. But most importantly, the grit and mean streak that he brings to his football, love it or hate it, is what has contributed to his winning mentality. It ensures his standards never fall. I do think he's guilty of taking it a bit too far sometimes. That's just my opinion. I don't love it. But hey, football needs villains, and some villains play best when they are indulging in a bit of villainy. This is a man who has been at the pinnacle of world football for ages now. He played the entirety of Spain's Euro 2008 campaign, besides a meaningless match against Greece, every minute of their World Cup 2010 triumph, and every minute of their Euro 2012 victory. It was only in 2012 that he started playing as a center back. Remember, this guy was a right back before. From there, he played at the heart of one of the best club sides in football history, leading them from the back as Madrid won 4 Champions League trophies in 5 seasons. With this sort of habit of winning, it's no wonder he hasn't allowed Real Madrid's standards to fall during this tournament-esque finish to the season. Credit also goes to players such as Casemiro, one of the most important pieces to this Real Madrid team and a future leader, but as far as being the leader of that winning mentality, Sergio Ramos stands out. Oh, not to mention Zinedine Zidane. When Zinedine Zidane left after surging up to second as far as trophies won for Real Madrid as a manager, there was reason to fear for Real, and there was reason to think, they might be okay. On the one side, we had the doubters who believed that he was lucky to commandeer one of the most talented squads in the world. Anyone could have been successful leading this team with their eyes closed, while the other side pointed to just how difficult it is to manage a team of personalities like Real Madrid has. After Julen Lopetegui floundered with Los Blancos and Santiago Solari improved Real slightly, but not to the extent that fans and the club would have hoped, Zinedine Zidane's return shocked the world. Why? Because there was a ton of talk of Real needing to revamp their squad, or at the very least, reinforce it. It was a project that could have put a smudge on his record, per se. Perhaps Zidane was guaranteed funds when he signed on, because Real hit the market that same summer, bringing in Ferland Mendy and Eder Militão to reinforce their defense. Eden Hazard and Luka Jovic boosted their attack, alongside signings for the future in Rodrigo Goes and Take Kubo, among others. By the way, Rodrigo, just for accuracy's sake, was actually signed in June of 2018, but only joined Real in the summer of 2019, just like Eder Militão was signed earlier, but only joined in the summer. In considering the players that were already at Real, these additions gave them the depth that they needed, something that gave them the advantage over their opponents. Just look at the squad that Real Madrid took to Granada recently. They had their typical back line, no surprises there, a midfield of Casemiro, Cruz, and Fede Valverde, who may as well have been a new experienced signing with the way he has established himself in this team. Modric, Isco, and Benzema rounded out the starting 11. And on the bench, they had Lucas Vazquez, Brahim Diaz, Alphonse Areola, Eder Militão, Vinicius Jr., Eden Hazard, Rodrigo, Marco Asensio, Gareth Bale, and youngsters Javi Hernandez and Miguel Gutierrez. I mean, I didn't even mention James Rodriguez, as his future is in question once again at the Bernabeu. And look at that squad. Look at that bench. The fact that Zidane has had the luxury of rotating his squad with the knowledge that he will be putting a competent and often high-quality replacement in place of a starter has done wonders for Real in the long run. I mean, they've barely even utilized Gareth Bale. This squad depth is something I pointed to in choosing Real Madrid over Barcelona in the title race upon football's return. Their bench is stacked, and when games are coming this thick and fast, squad depth plays a huge role. That, and the fact that Real Madrid under Zidane have been one of the top tournament teams in recent memory. Spanish football journalist Sid Lowe recently made the connection on the Spanish Football Podcast, which I've linked below, that of course Real Madrid are doing well when La Liga has effectively been transformed into a tournament. All they had to do was treat it like the Champions League, a tournament they have loved recently, a tournament that Zidane and the squad have pedigree in, and they could likely come out on the other side of the 11 remaining fixtures as La Liga champions. This is a squad that already has a winner's mentality when it comes to high-stakes situations, and talk of fortunate calls aside, they've never really looked like they would drop points throughout this run. Of the 9 matches played so far, they have won 9, a record for Zidane in regard to consecutive wins. They've kept a clean sheet in 7 of the 9 matches, scoring 17 and conceding just twice. Couple this with Zidane's penchant for man management, something I speak of at length in this video if you want to take a look at what it's like managing Real Madrid from the inside, as well as the leaders he has in the team and the depth of his squad, and you have Real Madrid in the 2019-20 season, from counted out to 3 points from La Liga champions with potentially the best defensive performance they've ever had. Thanks for taking the time to watch this video, and if you enjoyed it, a like is a simple way of showing it, and that goes a long way for the channel. Beyond that, I'm Adrian, this is Rabona TV, and we'll hopefully catch you in the next video. Ciao!